Hey YouTube, this is Guy Reed from Team Watapon, bringing you guys our first segment on our first series, which is based off one of the two decks I've been playing for the past year or so. I'll be calling it Managing with Machinas, as inspired by Robbie Cole's Perfecting the Gadgets and his newer series, Reinnovating the Gadgets. If you have players such as Alex Thunderpants Vanson topping Championship Series with Machinas, the deck is getting a lot better and a lot more consistent, and is seeing a lot more play, including some play styles, combos, and techs. So, thought that somebody should have their opinions voiced out on YouTube, so I thought I'd step up and see how it went. Here's the basic Machina engine. We have our Gear Frame, Fortress, Force, and I've even got Peacekeeper up there. Like I run one of those instead of Force because I'd rather set a Peacekeeper and hope for Torrential, either on my side or theirs, as opposed to keeping a Force in for about 3 turns. So I'm more of a setup kind of Machina player. Anyways, this first segment will be called Build Representatives. So I've taken all of the builds that I've seen on Pojo, on Duelist Grounds, and I've come to the conclusion of 3 builds that I see most popular and, well, the better ones, in my opinion. So I've got 3 cards here to introduce and talk about each build with each card. So first card is Thunder King Ryo, representing the stun aspect, the stun build of Machina, which was reviewed by Robbie Cole and is actually the build I prefer and I'm playing right now. I actually run 2 of these in mine, whereas in some Machina stun, Ryo isn't even run because they can't play around it. Truth is, Ryo is actually really easy to play around. It just don't play anything. Just don't play a Gear Frame when you have a Ryo out. That's common sense. It allows you to draw into your monsters, draw into everything, and once Ryo's gone, once your opponent has killed it, either with one of their resources such as Smashing Ground or suicided with the Card Trooper or something like that, then you go all out, just play everything, and really keeping tabs on the last few turns in graveyards and knowing what they have left to do really opens up a lot of options. Another thing that actually brought stun to its highest pinnacle was this card right here, Solemn Warning, which I also run 3 of. It's too broken to not run 3. Although a lot of anti-Solemn Warning cards have been brought into question, such as Dark Bribe, pay 2,000, draw a card. Basically, what ends up happening. Or 7 Tools of the Bandit has even been brought up to counteract this card. And in my opinion, that's just how desperate some players are willing to, get rid of this thing. Also, the fact that Magic Cylinder is being thought of running 1 or 2 in main, just because players are playing so many of those, is a very interesting point, but kind of ridiculous at the same time. I don't know, that's my opinion. Anyways, the second build that I'll be talking about is the Pure Machinas, which doesn't really have much tech choices in there, so it's this deck that's most likely to get neck decked, which Solidarity is actually going to be representing due to its very high importance in this build. Because you're only running machines, this card turns your seemingly insignificant gadgets, and I said seemingly because they actually are amazing even without a boost. It just turns them into large beat sticks, and that's something that everybody wants. They want to turn their weakest monster in the deck, or, well, attack-wise, into something that's just going to trample anything your opponent plays, basically, except for those damn synchros. So yeah, the only problem with this deck, despite the fact it just made either top 8 or top 4 in Philly this weekend, is the fact that, like I said, there's a lack of tech. There's a lack of choice in what you want to run. So basically, if you're running even one non-machine monster because you like that card, for example, a Gale, a Gores, if you're playing like that, don't run this. It's a really bad idea. Even if you're running like all machine monsters but a Starlight Road, that's gonna screw you over evidently as well. So it's a very iffy card to play. It's very dependent and, well, very dependent on your playstyle. So it's, depending on how you play, it's a very risky build. The last build I'll be talking about is, unfortunately, the build I can't talk about much because I don't know that much about it, is Future Fusion, Cyber Dragon, Jinzo type of build, which I know one thing is broken if you get the right stuff, but otherwise it's very inconsistent, very, I don't know, you can't really bounce back from much. Whereas in the other two builds, the worst thing that can happen to you is you get 3 of each gadget in your opening hand, which has actually happened to me on a practice run. That was bad. Whereas in the other two builds, the worst thing that can happen is like just that. Whereas in this deck, this build, if you just run into a Jinzo, a Black Salvo, if you run 1 or even 2 of those, and a returner, and no gadget, no Machina, no nothing, you're pretty much screwed. Like, there's hardly any rebound from that. Another thing just occurred to me, another build that I could talk about, seeing as I've played it, is it's more like a tech choice, actually. Just look for the card right now. No, forget it. I'll just talk about it. Ancient Gear, utilizing Gear Towns, utilizing 1 or 2 teched double Cyclone and whatnot. It's not bad. Gotta admit, it's pretty good. You ditch a dragon for Fortress, double Cyclone, kill the Gear Town and an opponent's spell or trap, get your dragon back. The only thing is, that build you're not supposed to run Force, and that, again, still a little bit inconsistent, because if you're just drawing into those Ancient Gear Dragons, then again, you're screwed. So thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe, and there is more to come. Later, YouTube.